the scenario of the football game where the substitute will come, and if the substitute says that might say that the earlier part, individuals who are playing haven't done well, so I will not also kill myself. That is not the same scenario here. The government is tirelessly killing himself. They are trying utmost best to make sure that things are put together. It is not in that scenario, it is not in that perspective. You are looking it into that dimension, but here it is not practical if you look onto the way the system is. Remember, this is a system. It cannot be put at all. You cannot just say that it has to be there once and for all. This is a system, it is a procedure, it needs some methodologies. Alright? It needs some ways in which you are going to implement it, and therefore it needs to take time. It cannot be at you cannot do it just at a particular moment and get it finished. It has to take time. Therefore, we need to endure the time. The problem with us, we suffer the deficit. We are suffering from the, I can say we lack those plannings. Like long-term planning is our problem. We always want to put things in a very short-term moment. So in that moment, we cannot able to do that. There are certain things you cannot plan them in a short period of time and conclude and get them done. You need a long time or a long period of time in order to make sure that you are able to mitigate those problems step by step to the extent that you are able to get them into the full bed. So this is the reason why I say so.
Okay, well, no, I think I have a question here. Beran and Serif. Well, we have seen recently the Director General of Fisheries have been,
Dr. Banya.
Yes, been sentenced. He has been, charged and sentenced at the court.
2 years.
Yes, 2 years imprisonment. There are many counts that he has been, So don't you think that is a sign of the government showing the political will to fight against corruption? Because we have seen now many people have been, whenever you are, accused of corruption, the government will take steps, and these steps will go as far as to courts, and if they are found guilty, they have been sentenced. So don't you think there is a political will to show that they are fighting against corruption?
So essentially, before I will get to that, but at some point I feel like I want Musa to understand one thing, that is, with all due respect to Barrow's administration, at some point he has been delivering, but development is both, it's about whether the good supersedes the bad or not. And if you ask me about my opinions, I will obviously say I think the bad outweigh the good. I believe they could have done better. And then if you talk about the anti-corruption bill and so on, come on, we've seen countries where opposition parties work hand in glove with the incumbent just to make sure the country moves forward. And then with the way I am looking at the political space of this country, the opposition parties are of course fighting for the interest of the nation. Whilst we've seen there are many moments when the incumbent will have helped us. The failed draft constitution, I think 111 million was spent. Where is it today? And most of the people that voted against the draft constitution cross-carpeted from the United Democratic Party to the National People's Party. And I feel that constitution was way more progressive than the 1997 constitution. What could have stopped us to accept that constitution? Because of the huge amount of money, the time, the resources, everything that has been invested in it. So about the issue of Dr. Banja, it's not Dr. Banja alone who is corrupt. They use Dr. Banja as the sacrifice to indicate to us that they are fighting corruption, so that others, we will not be questioning them. We can say, of course, because Dr. Banja is in fact corrupt. You caught somebody red-handed, the person, like you have cogent evidence to indicate that this person is corrupt. You want to tell us 2 years is enough for that? 2 years.
I think he has been fined $1 million here, I think.
And 2 years.
There are 3 counts. He has been.
So that is why you're indicating to us that another person could also come and say, if I am caught, they're gonna just fine me that same amount. At the same time, it's gonna be not less than 2 years. 2 years for corruption. If anybody is fined one thing for corruption, that person should rot in jail for a very long time. I can tell you that. If you look at South Africa as an example, if you look at the Zuma case, the Kanda report, almost 250-something million was spent by Jacob Zuma on his house. But look at what the EFF did. They had to fight against that. And then the ANC at some point, some of the people within the ANC was the ruling party. They realized that what Zuma did was wrong, because the public protector, who was Tolie Madonzela, her report indicated that this man was engaged in corruption. They went to court. Zuma's lawyer could not defend him. The EFF along with some ANC members and DA, they had to do everything possible to compel Jacob Zuma to leave office. That is what is expected of an opposition and some genuine individuals who are within the government. That is what you do. Regardless of who it is, whether it is your family member, who it is, fight corruption. But for Dr. Banja's case, they just presented this one man to us. When there are so many culprits inside, now they said this man could be used as a sacrifice, so that when we saw them disperse and they will say, yes, we are fighting corruption, so that others, we will not be pushing them ahead. We'll say, yes, the government is delivering the expectations. 2 years. Come on, let's be serious as a country.
Siri, what do you think?
Exactly, as he rightly put it. That's it. We need not to be a ceremonial nation. That's how I would put it. That is, after 10 or 15 or 25 cases of corruption, you just identify one individual, as he put it, in a form of a sacrifice, and then tell us that we are fighting against corruption. Not that. Is he the only individual involved in corruption? And in fact, the thing is, we are using corruption in order to battle corruption. That is the issue here. We are using corruption in order to battle corruption. As a result, we cannot eradicate. That's the simple logic. Because if not only Dr. Banja involved in corruption, but then you try to identify only Dr. Banja and then leave the others, that means you are using corruption, because that is corruption number one. But then you also said you are trying to combat corruption. So meaning you are using corruption in order to combat corruption. As a result, it cannot be eradicated.
But now, what if people might say, Iran, that this whole thing take process. If someone is accused of corruption, you need to have proofs that this person is involved. So as a result, it might take time to prove that this person is corrupt or he's been involved in corruption. So how don't you think it's going to be very difficult to identify that this person is involved in corruption? If you don't have proof.
I will take an example of the various commissions, the JANE and then the TRRC. When JAME left in 2017, he left in 2017. I think the TRRC came in 2019 or so. So, but if you look at it, since Barrow came into office, there are so many scandals that we've been hearing. The 35 million of the first lady and so on, all this, we've been hearing about them. So now, what do you do? Look at the KMC, for example. They said there has been corruption in the KMC, and then we know that next month is the local government, is the mayoral election. If the government could fast track their process to establish a commission and then to investigate some of the dealings of these various local governments.
I think the commission has been set.
It has been set already. I think the commissioners have been sworn in fact.
Yes, in fact, yeah.
Now what could have stopped that same government to fast track NAWEC as an institution, Gambia Post Authority and so on?
Yeah.
If you can establish a commission within few months just to investigate these various, almost how many local governments, what could have stopped you to establish a commission to investigate only one institution? That's not it. What could have stopped you to use the National Assembly as an institution to investigate, to call these people to come listen? When I'm talking about government, I'm not talking about only the executive, I'm looking at all. Because the executive, the judiciary, all these institutions are part of the government. But there is what you call lack of political will, lack of pragmatic leadership. If these two are not available, automatically we will not be able to, combat corruption. And these are the two things that are lacking. The leadership is not delivering to our expectations. Because some of the people at some point, maybe the people that are engaged into corruption, they have close associates in the government. And they will not just want to use them. But I can tell you for free that we have many individuals that are corrupt, but Dr. Banja is used as the sacrifice, indicating to us that they are fighting corruption.
Okay, Musa, so what is your take on those that would say, or as they said, that Dr. Banja or many others, there are lots of cases of corruption or allegations of corruption, but only one is, cited out and it's been dealt with. There are lots of corrupt practices that are happening and nothing is done about it. What is your take on that?
Thank you for answering that beautiful question. We say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a start, right? So you do not expect the government to just jump up like that and fight against corruption just once. He made mention of something like commissions being set up in order to fight against corruption to the KMC, that is the local government. But then you cannot compare KMC with NAWEC. Because when you talk about NAWEC here, it has to do with from cartoon to coin, the whole of the Gambia. And you cannot tell me that
you cannot all the local governments.
This is for all the local governments.
Okay, but you cannot, even though you cannot compare them, because NAWEC has to do with throughout the country. And the operation of NAWEC is far more, hectic and broad than that of these local governments. Okay, it has to take time for them to make their investigations and make sure that all of these public corporations are put into place. Then from there, they can make further steps towards NAWEC.
Okay, Musa.
Yes,
I want you to answer
He also made mention of the issue of the draft constitution, the failed draft constitution. You cannot just come and blame the government. Like, remember, we are saying that corruption cannot be eradicated in this country. Okay?
100%.
So, exactly. So, you cannot just use the failed draft constitution as a point of saying that corruption cannot be eradicated.
Well, it has been struck out, and so many millions have been spent on it.
So many millions we have been spent. But remember, as I have made it clear earlier on, that in the parliament we have different political parties with different interests, different ideologies, with different goals.
But what you said, what he said,
Yeah.
most of the people who voted against the draft constitution were those that cross-carpeted from the UDP, the opposition party, to the NPP.
To the NPP. You need to understand what
And one of their
it is-
contention is the term limit.
the term limit.
Why are they so interested in the term limit?
No, you need to understand one thing here. NPP and UDP are all the same.
They are not the
UDP
same.
gave-
No.
UDP gave back to NPP.
They are not the same. They are not the same.
These are different people. You cannot say they are the same.
No, UDP gave back to NPP.
It's an incumbent and an opposition. The way we will treat NPP is different from how we will treat UDP. We gave the mandate to NPP so that they can be in government, and they are responsible to us. And that question of as to whether they should give us answers relating to those bosses, they should. If we, all of us, because the budget belongs to us, what is in the state account, it belongs to all of us. It's just like we all put our monies together, we give it to Adam. If Adam goes to the market to buy SARS, give it to each of us, we're not going to stop it there. We'll ask him, where did you get the money from? How much did you use? Those are the questions that we raise. So if a government comes and tells us that we're not going to answer us those questions, then that tells us, it gives us many reasons to question whether that government is a responsible government.
So, Musa, what do you take?
What's my what I'm just trying to put across here. We also expect the citizens to be able to understand that government cannot only operate in the basis of just generating tax from the citizens. Okay, but then also government can operate by having foreign relations with foreign countries, that is the foreign policy. Okay, and as we speak right now, the Gambia has relationship with so many countries like China, Taiwan, you name them. Okay, so one can say at some point that they were able to have access to these bosses through the international relations. Okay, but
But how can we prove that if they are not allowed, or they are not allowing citizens or journalists to question them?
But
Let me answer that.
I'm not surprised to know that they've said that.
It's simple. It's simple. All right. The reason why they say that is because they believe and they have that understanding. They have that foresee that those who are going to ask these questions are not going to ask questions to make sure that they know how it is, where the money is get from, and how much those voices are. But they are there just to bring chaos and also bring some flavors in the country.
Okay.
They are not there to bring any.
Okay. No. You talked about something.
Just wait.
Come.
Okay.
Milan.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
Are you going to say because they think people are going to ask unnecessary questions? Right?
Exactly.
Okay. What about those who said the formation of that commission to look into the dealings of the local government is untimely, and it is done based on political will?
People have different opinions. All right. Today I can sit here and I will have fun. Somebody might come and say, no, this is not an have fun. But because of the basics, that person have a different opinion with mine. So people have different opinions. You cannot condemn people's opinion on the certain issues. So you cannot use that as a.
But we are talking about the government here.
Yes, the government itself. I'm referring to. You cannot use those basics as a tool to say that no, the government is not transparent, or the government, there are hidden things that actually need to be clarified on those issues. Well, it is the responsibility of the government now. The government knows how to monetize those ones. The government knows how to do it, when to do it, and where to do it, and what they should allow also. All right, what they should allow. He was talking about the government have to leave, up to the extent around the political area and do so, because they believe that is the most adequately suitable time for them to do it. Therefore, they have to do it at that time, because they believe if they should bring in another perspective, it might cause some other issues. So therefore, time frame is also very important. The government is working with time. So maybe sometimes the time they come, it might fall with an incident, and that incident might be, that is not their same their sole idea, their sole issue of making those things. But because of maybe it falls at that particular moment, that's why we interpret it in that way. But that is not the main reason. If you look at the government, their main reason is not the main reason for them presenting those buses during a week before election, that doesn't mean their motive is to use it as a tool of campaign. No. That is not the main issue. That is not the main issue here. But that is the actual time they are able to establish. That is the time they are able to have and do. Remember, the government is engaged on so many things, so they cannot leave those things and come and present a mere bosses. Therefore, they have to work onto those ones. To the extent that they have completed those projects, then now they have the time. Now they have to come. Now, even they are not able to complete their works at a time before, maybe few months or maybe a year before this election or so forth, but they are able to complete maybe a week before the election. Therefore, they should use that little time because they believe this is the only time they will be free for them to do that, to present those votes. Therefore, they need to use the time.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether it falls around the area of campaigns or so forth.
Okay, different ministries with different functions.
Exactly.
Okay, what is your argument to that?
Obviously, but the question is, why is it that always those projects are always, as he put it, they always come when it is time for election? That is my question.
Yes.
Apparently, Musa made mention of something, that is the work of NAWEC is very hectic. Fine, their work is hectic. But why is it that they try to combat the introduction of another electrical company and water company? They're trying to combat that. Also, they increase their tariff. Before, when you buy cash power for $100, you get around 8.7. But now you buy cash power $100, you get 6.7, meaning $37 have been subtracted. That is in terms of.
But remember, we are on economic crisis.
Yes, we are on economic crisis. But don't you think that now allowing the other company to come on board would reduce their load, as Musa put it, and also would go a long way in trying to reduce? Remember, the more companies we have, the more private companies we have, the better for the citizens of the nation, because they would try to compete in terms of the market.
And one could say, like he put it, we're talking about corruption here. The 15 million that has been given to NAWEC, and we have had many generators being presented to NAWEC, but still we do not have that stable electricity as we want, and water. As I speak to you right now, in this area we do not have water right now. So one could say, where are they using that money for? Or what are the kind of generators that these people are getting, and where are they getting it from? Don't you think it is a sign of them not being transparent and not?
That's a hard fact here. All the sectors here, if you look at it, it's lack of transparency. Because the reason why they are fighting the introduction of another electrical or water company is because they know that if those people come on board, they will try to expose them. Because if those people are trying to deliver to expectations better than them, obviously people will understand the maneuver of them. And in fact, you put it here, they have been given $15 million, but where are they putting it? The Gambia is a small country, will say, in terms of land size, yet we cannot get the required number of water that we need, considering that our river is available, or many factors that we need to develop. But yet we always complain of water or electricity. So this is a sign of corruption everywhere. So this is a big problem that we need to tackle as a nation if we want to prosper.
Yes, okay.